So I do suggest that you start lying down if you're feeling a little fidgety, and if the idea of lying down makes you even more fidgety, feel free to fidget for a few moments and then try to lie down, because it's a great way to signal the body to calm and also to check in with your body. And if you are lying down, you can take a pillow or a towel or anything you like under your head. You can lay down with your knees bent or your feet, legs out straight, whatever works. Starting with a very short reading from Judith Lasater from her book, A Year of Living Your Yoga. And she has a bunch of these little nuggets accompanied by a few sentences of expanding on the thought. And then I just babble and expand on the thought even more. So her thoughts here that I chose is, letting go means realizing that you weren't in charge anyway. She writes, we often worry about so many things, most of them beyond our control. Just today, or maybe tomorrow, since it's the evening, so tonight and tomorrow, let go wherever you can and whatever you can by embracing the understanding that you are not in charge of the world. And interestingly, Judith has a similar reading later in the book with a similar sentiment, and she describes it as, you are not the general contractor for the universe. So many of us all day in our work lives, in our family lives, and if we have pets, we want to make everything right for the people around us, and we want to do our jobs well and do our tasks well. But we can get carried away with that and remember that some things are under our control, but most aren't. So the only thing that's really under control now is that you chose to come into your practice. And hopefully this will be a little reminder that you don't really have to take care of as much as you think you do. So as you lie on the mat or come to a still place, close your eyes if you are comfortable doing that, and start tuning out the chatter of the world around you. And the chatter could be in the form of actual chatter, people talking in your home or outside on the streets. If you live in an apartment, you might hear radio from another room. So there might be chatter. So, okay, that's the signs of life all around us. So set that chatter to the side. And then chances are your mind might be chattering. So see if you could invite your inner talky person to be a little still. And then closing your eyes takes your awareness away from the light around you. So draw away from your senses. So you're subduing the sound in a sense, you're taking yourself away from that. If you close your eyes, even if it's partway closed, you're taking away the vision of what's going on, something you might see that reminds you of something you think you should do. And just come to as quiet a place in your mind, in the passageways of your senses, and in your body. And then bring your awareness to your breath and stay with your awareness. Let your awareness hug your breath and notice the breath as it rolls in and as it rolls out without judgment. Just follow along as if you were diving in, as if you were going into a slow moving river or creek, feeling very safe in the comfort of the flow of your breath and noticing how it feels as it rolls in and as it rolls out. You might also notice as you breathe, as you inhale, do you feel a subtle rising in the chest? As you exhale, do you feel a subtle condensing or softening in the chest? As you inhale, do you feel a subtle expansion in your belly? Don't force any of these sensations, just notice. Again, they're very, very subtle most of the time. Bring your awareness to your back, even though you're lying on your back. Notice if you can get a sense of the movement of the breath in the back body. When we breathe in, we expand in multiple directions, top to bottom, side to side, length, width, depth, and just notice what you feel. Also notice if your breath is a little challenged today because of maybe allergies. There's a lot of allergy stuff flying around. And know that if you ever feel that's giving you an instruction of telling you to inhale, and you're not inhaling, you're exhaling, just remember to just enjoy the breath as you have it. And if it doesn't work for you to sync your breath to your movement, that is okay as well. We're going to start with some gentle movements here. And as E said earlier, if you get lost or very confused, you could certainly unmute yourself to ask some questions. So now, if you are lying with your legs straight, just bend your knees, place your feet lightly on the floor. You can take padding under your head if you wish. Sometimes I take it just so I can see the screen a little better in case any of you put your camera on, but you do not need to have padding under your head unless you like it. Take your feet as wide as the outer edges of your mat, arms relaxed, palms up or palms down, and just start taking your legs super slowly from side to side like a windshield wiper. Sometimes this is done in preparation of a twist. We're just doing it because I think it's one of the simplest movements we can do and hopefully not stress out. So hopefully, Jackie, this feels okay in your hips. So just go a little, really super subtle if you need to. And then slow the movement down so that your knees are barely moving. And then tip your knees against each other. So when you're doing a little rest throughout the day, and I do recommend that you try and take some little pockets of time throughout the day and come to lying down even for 5 minutes. You can lay on the floor if it's uncomfortable for your back. This can help your low back feel a little calmer. So just know that. Now from here, we're going to do some stretches. We're not trying to force anything. We're just trying to wake up the body, lengthen the muscles out a little bit, give ourselves a good stretch before we come into the evening, and don't force anything. So now take your feet parallel, so close but not touching, like railroad tracks, and have your arms by your side. Extend your right leg out and activate it as if you were standing on it. So you're not going to have the leg rolling over to either side. The ankle is going to be gently flexed. Try and relax the toes. Snuggle your thigh down. Don't force anything. Snuggle the hip down that your thigh is connected to. And just notice how you feel. Your leg might be bent. Maybe it doesn't stretch here straight. So just notice what you feel. And then bring that leg in and switch. Right foot down, left leg out. Ankle gently flexed, foot active. Notice we're not trying to force our leg to the floor, but notice if the knee needs to bend a lot or not so much. Just notice what you're starting out with here today. And then bring that leg in. Take your right arm and send it straight up to the ceiling with your fingers reaching toward the ceiling, but then check in with your shoulder. We don't want to pull the shoulder. I don't know if you can see that. We don't want to pull the shoulder up and straight. Oh, I got to reach that up there. Let the shoulders soften down. Let the arm bones slide into the shoulder joint, but just keep the length of the arm reaching up and energized. Place your right arm down. Do the same with your left. So we're energizing, we're reaching, but we're not forcing. The fingertips are lively. The shoulder is calm. Place the left arm down. Now let's get a sense again of what range of motion you're working with tonight. So you know where you stand and you know where your limits are. Really respect your limits. Don't think of them as limits. Think of it as, I'll think of a better word. So raise your right arm up halfway again. Now, if it's okay for you, if you feel that it's not going to injure anything, start taking your arm back behind you. Control the movement. Don't let the weight of the arm yank you down. Keep the arm stretching. With the arm overhead, the shoulder is going to lift up a little bit. And just take the arm back as far as you can go without force. So it feels good. And then bring the arm down and then do the same with your left. And you might not bring the arm back really far, where you might stay in the first position with the fingertips reaching up to the sky like this. This might be good enough. Maybe it's too much. Maybe having your arm as high as your shoulder doesn't work. So you're going to have it a little lower. But explore. Let it be an exploration of your range of motion. It's a very practical thing. So we don't have to think of it as a limit. See how far your arms go back And then know that in the next movement that we do, you're not going to go push past. You're not going to push into any roadblocks. You're going to stay clear of them. Take your palms down by your side, palms down. And as you inhale, extend your left leg out like we did. Turn the right arm to face your hip and bring it up or back. So we're reaching our limbs away from our trunk, but we're not forcing any of that action. Take a breath here, stretching diagonally, left foot, right hand, and then bring the left foot back and the right arm down. As you inhale, extend your left leg long, your right leg, and your left arm. And remember your arm, I saw someone just came in, your arm could be reaching up like this. So you're just extending the limbs comfortably away from each other. And you're alternating. We're going to be back to right arm, left leg. But if you get lost, and sometimes I get lost, just remember that you're reaching opposite. So whatever leg you're reaching, you're going to do the opposite arm. It's not wrong to do it the other way, but this way, pause on whatever side you're on. And just notice with the leg that's extended, that hip might feel nice and open. So it's like a smile, a smiley front of your hip. And take a breath, a diagonal breath from whatever armpit of the upraised arm down to the hip. Imagine you're breathing and expanding along that diagonal line. And you might feel that makes you feel a little longer, either in the leg or in the arm or both. And then bring those limbs home and then do your second side. Extending your leg out, doesn't have to be straight. Extend your arm, it could be up to the ceiling, it doesn't have to be behind you. And then think diagonally from the armpit of the arm and the hip of the leg and take a nice breath, inhaling, expanding on that diagonal line. Oh, that feels yummy. And then as you exhale, bring the limbs back home. Take your feet wide again, where we started the beginning of class, except this time, we're going to start with that very gentle windshield wiper-like activity, tipping the legs very gently back and forth from side to side, but we are going to come to a twist here. So the next time your legs spill over to the right, let them go as far as they can go and still be comfortable. When we take our legs to the right, we are putting more weight on our right hip. So if that's not comfortable for you, you can take some padding and don't let the right leg come down as much as it can. You can take padding underneath the outer right leg or underneath the inner left leg, whatever works. With the knees to the right, turn your head to the left. Take your arms out comfortably, no higher than your shoulders here, because we don't want to get into any stretching. We want to be present in mind, in body, in this twist. Surrender to gravity. Breathe into the front of your chest. Breathe into your right side. Breathe into your left side. And then just breathe. Bring your knees back to center. Bring your nose back to center. Pause. If your hips shifted to the left as you twisted to the right, you can bring them back to the midline. Inhale a breath here. And as you exhale, spill your legs like you're pouring water over to the other side. And again, we don't want to strain the legs. So sometimes the weight of the legs pulls us into a bigger twist than we want to be in. So you can use, I showed you before how to take a prop under the outer leg, but you can also bring it under what I call the inner leg. It's the higher leg of the twist. So you can, that padding you need to bring pretty high on the thigh, close to your butt cheek to support that leg. And generally when we twist, we turn our head away from the bent knee side. And again here, close your eyes, make sure your feet are relaxed. Sometimes you might realize my feet are in a weird position. You might want to relax your feet a little bit more. Breathe a side, pick a side of your body and breathe into that side, gently feeling or sensing that you're expanding the lung, which you are doing, and you might feel a sense of that subtle expansion on that side. And then when your next inhale rolls around, breathe into the other side. Breathe into your chest and belly. And in any of these places, as you breathe, you could bring a hand there just to dial into the feeling of movement, but you don't have to use your hands at all. And then when you're ready, roll your head back to center, pick your knees up, take any props out of the way, take your feet wide again, rest your knees together, and just pause. Then bring your inner edges of your feet together, press your feet down, shift your hips to one side, roll to the other side. Make sure you have support under your head when you're on your side, and then place your top arm down. Initiate the lift with the top arm. Lift yourself up, recruit the bottom arm into the movement, and then come to sitting. Now, as you come to sitting on your mat, make sure you are super comfortable. So you can sit up on a blanket or towel if you like. You can sit cross-legged as I'm doing, but that's not always comfortable for everyone. So feel free not to sit cross-legged. Take your legs out in front of you, or any other seat will do. But what is important is to make sure you're not leaning forward like so. So bring one hand behind you, behind your head, and you'll feel the curve of the back of the skull. So our head curves behind us, our neck curves forward, our upper back curves behind us, our low back curves forward, and our hips, pelvis is like a bowl. And when we're on our back, the bowl is on the table. Here we're sitting, so our bowl is kind of spilling forward with the curve of the bottom of the bowl in back. So we want to get a sense that we're lining up these important curves of these very key places in our body. So the curve of your skull, the curve of your upper back, and the curve of your hip structure. See if you can find that. And if you're not sure, lean a little bit forward or back or side to side, and then get a sense that you have lined those up to the best of your ability, and then reach the crown of your head up and invite your sitting bones to drop down like anchors. Take your arms to the side in like an A frame. So you're like a capital letter A. The arms should not be straining here. If they are, bring them closer. We just want to lengthen the arms. It's more of a lengthening technique than a stretching technique. So just reach your energy down from your upper arms to your fingertips, and then think about energy coming from the fingertips up to the arm, up through the arm. And you might feel a little buzziness when you do that. And then release, just roll your wrists around very gently. You can circle them one way and then circle them the other way. If you don't like the way you're sitting, change your seat. Crisscross your hands lightly in front of your chest and bow your chin down. So now that curve of the back of the head is going to be out of alignment just for a few moments here. But lift the chest up into your hands. So lift the sternum, lift your breastbone. And as you inhale, open your arms into cactus. So you don't have to bring your elbows as far back as the sides of you. You can be on a little bit of a diagonal with the elbows in front of you. And don't peel your arms back and thrust your ribs forward. That's just going to stress out your neck. Exhale, bring your arms around you, and inhale, open the arms. So follow this rhythm on your own. Very small movements, especially if you have a shoulder injury, Jackie. So keep your shoulders relaxed as you can. You could also decrease the range of motion. The next time your arms are in the open position, pause there. So think about when your arms are open, we're closing down a little bit the gates of our backyard, the gates of our back. Our shoulder blades are getting a little closer. I mean, moving toward the spine, but our front garden of our chest is nice and open. Breathe a breath into the front of your chest, in through your nose and out through your nose. And then as you exhale, close the gates in front. Now, the front gate's closed. You might feel your back is especially broad from shoulder blade to shoulder blade. Bring your awareness to your upper back, the widest part of your back, without force. Take a natural breath there and imagine, or maybe you don't have to imagine, that you could feel the expansion of your back body to accommodate the change in the shape and the size and the volume, in a sense, of the lungs as you breathe in. Very important to be able to connect with the movement of the breath in your back body. And then if you like, just do a few more very fluidly. Inhale, open, and exhale, closed. Nice and soft. Inhale, open, exhale, closed. And one more time, open your arms. Take a comfortable breath into the front of your chest. Think of, as you inhale, the chest is lifting up as your diaphragm is drawing down, making space for that breath to come in. Good. And then turn your palms to face each other. And as you inhale, take your arms up. As the arms come up, the shoulders are going to lift, but remember, don't go past your range of motion. Just stay within a comfortable range. Exhale, bring the arms down. Inhale, bring the arms up. And exhale, bring the arms down. One more time. Inhale, bring the arms up. Now flip your palms so your palms are looking forward. Now roll your arms so the palms are looking toward the sides of the room. And then, keeping your wrist straight, reach your arms out wide, lengthening through the length of your arm. Bring your arms down again to the mat. Let your fingers just lightly drop to the mat and pause there and see if you can line up those back body curves. Take a breath here. Now, if you've been sitting cross-legged all this time, you might want to change the cross of your legs, or you may want to choose a different seat. We're going to take a twist. We did a twist already, but it's nice to kind of wring out the spine really all the time, but at the end of the evening. So we're going to do a gentle seated twist now. We're going to twist to your right. So you could scoot your right arm slightly behind you. You could bring your left arm right over to your leg and just set your arms up. Alternatively, you could take your left arm up, which will, the nice thing about that, it gives a little more length to your torso. It gives a little more vibrancy to your body. Inhale. And as you exhale, take a very small twist of your shoulder girdle and your collarbones to your right, and then slide that front arm down wherever it lands. Traditionally, it comes to the opposite leg, but maybe you want to be a maverick and just have it in front of you and just have a little more opening in your front garden. So as you just twist to the right, most important thing is that you're not twisting by pulling your neck. Another, maybe not as important, but important thing is as you twist to the right, make sure your left thigh is relaxed and it's not tensing up. Take a breath here. Maybe bring the awareness of your breath to your upper back, maybe to your upper chest, wherever you like. Savor the breath. On your next inhale, slowly release the twist, arms up or down. Take your arms down, twisting to your left side now. So take that same side arm slightly behind you, but not so far back that you're leaning. We don't want to get dramatic here. We want to keep the curves of the back of our body in line. So that's why we have that arm to support us. Other arm up or take it across the body, your choice. Inhale, and as you exhale, small, slow, mellow twist, and then just drop your arm down wherever it feels appropriate for you in front. And then make sure that your head is comfortable, and make sure as you're twisting to your second side that the opposite leg is relaxed. You can either tap it to make sure it's relaxed. Both legs relaxed, but oftentimes when we twist one side, the other leg tenses up. Bring your awareness wherever you like, to your upper back, your upper chest, and just nestle your awareness somewhere in your body and breathe. Breathe into that place and notice the subtle movements that you feel connected with your breath. Take one more breath here. And then when you're ready, slowly unwind, arms up or arms down, gather your legs together, take your legs out in front of you, and just roll your legs out and in a little bit, again, sitting nice and tall. And then circle both ankles, or if you'd rather not multitask and you maybe want to do one ankle and then the other, that's actually sometimes a better way to do a movement. So we're a little more focused on what's going on. And then point and flex your ankles like paddles. Point and flex your feet. And then finally, wiggle your toes out a little bit. Excellent. We're going to come to a lying down again, and we're going to do some bridges. So if you're not familiar with bridge pose, you may need to watch, but most of you that I know anyway are very familiar with this. And I'm going to invite you, after we do a few bridges that we create the pose, to do a restorative version where you do the pose, but you don't have to do the work. So just have handy before you lie down, either one yoga block, which if you're using a block, you're going to place it horizontally across your sacrum. If you prefer to do 2 blocks, if you're familiar with that version, again, the blocks are going to be, I have them up so you can see them, but when they're underneath you, they're going to be at the lowest height. We're not going to take them high. So 1 block across your back of your hips, 2 blocks for a wider platform for your hips. If you don't have blocks, you could use a folded up towel or blanket, but make sure it's a pretty firm one. So have whatever prop you're going to use handy. I'm going to use the 1 block. Come to lying down. Only take a blanket under your head if you need to. There might be a number of reasons why you might need to. Maybe you get dizzy if your head is lower than your chest. If your upper back is very, very curved, if that curve has increased, your chin is going to be up toward the ceiling. So you want the neck nice and long, the back of the head calm. Hold on to your prop. Let go of your prop. I was obviously very attached to mine. Parallel your feet. Bend your elbows and plug your upper arms down to the mat. Your forearms are straight and reaching for the sky, robot arms. As you inhale, press lightly into your feet and your upper arms and lift your hips up a fraction. And as you exhale, lower your hips and whatever else went up, your low back, for example, lower it down. We're going to do a few like that. Inhale, lift the hips up, and exhale and lower down. And as you do these, feel free to pause. I'm going to give you a few things to look out for. We want to make sure that our feet are not tense, but not like just hanging out. As we lift up, we're pressing into the foot. The next time you come down, just notice you have an outer edge of each foot, an inner edge of each foot. And when you lift into bridge, you want to use both of those outer edges, not just weight on one side. And you also want to use the weight on the heel and the knuckles of your toes, not the toes themselves. Do 1 or 2 more of the lifts. Sometimes you might lift a little higher, and sometimes you might lift a little bit lower. And the next time you lower down, pause, rest your hands on your belly. Now take your feet as wide as the outer edges of your mat. This is the width we had when we were doing our little windshield wiper and when we were doing our twist when we started the class. So we're going to do bridge from here, an active bridge. The restorative bridge will be coming shortly. You might find with the feet wider, it feels a little different. Maybe you feel a little more freedom in your lift, maybe not. Suction cup your upper arms gently down, relax your head and neck. And as you inhale, find the outer and inner edges of your feet, fire up your legs. So the energy of your legs is going to take your hips. Find your glutes. You can reach with your hands, especially the lowest part of your glutes. Tap there, firm up there. And if it feels okay, you can stay lifted in your bridge for a few breaths. If you feel like you're fighting, like if you really have to strain to lift up into bridge, come out. You don't need that, especially not in the evening. This is a really gentle class. In some classes, the more you practice yoga, sure, you want a more vigorous practice, but that's just not what we're doing right now. So don't fight with the pose. When you're ready, if you haven't come down now. Rest your knees together, rest your hands on the floor or on your belly, and turn your head very slowly to one side. Pick a side. Whatever side you turn to, imagine that bottom ear had kind of a heavy weight on it, like if you had earmuffs that were heavy. So we're not trying to increase the turn of our head, but just imagine that this imaginary heavy earmuff on your bottom ear maybe is weighting your head down, and you might find yourself eking out a little more turn in your neck, and you might be, wow, I didn't even know I had that space in my neck to do that. Roll your head back to center and take your head slowly over to the other side. And again, find that imaginary weight on your bottom ear. So definitely, we never want to mess with our neck. We don't want to push our head or strain the neck, but just imagine that there was a little weight there. And you also might want to imagine or not imagine that you're releasing the weight in your mind. Again, you are not in control of everything. You're not in control of the world. Let go. You might find your head and your neck just getting a little bit lighter. Come back to center. Find the prop that you are going to use, the restorative bridge. You could do the restorative bridge with the feet where we started, parallel, close but not touching, or wide, whatever you like best. I like to come in with the feet narrow, and then if I choose to go wider once I'm in the bridge, then I do so. So to get the prop underneath you, you need to come up into an active bridge. If you have a long top, make sure you pull that taut. Slide the prop under you. If you're using a block, it is horizontal, and set it under the center back waist, excuse me, not the waist, the center back of your pelvis. It should not be in your low back. If you reach your arms under you, you should be able to feel that your lumbar spine, the low back curve, is on the head side of the block or whatever you're using. At the same time, you want to feel that the hips are weighted down and just completely relaxed. If the prop is too high, come out and take a lower prop. Then once you're here, take your arms comfortably, and you might decide that you may want to take your feet a little wide. But what I don't want you to do, I'm usually not this bossy, I don't want you to take your legs out wide, because that's going to narrow. We want to broaden the back in bridge. So we don't want to take our legs out wide here. So you can take your feet and knees out wide. You're going to keep your knees pointing up to the ceiling, whether they're parallel or wide. If anything, you can kind of drape the knees toward each other a little bit. Just make sure that doesn't put weight on the parts of you that are touching the support underneath you are a part of each pelvic half and the bone in between, the sacrum. So we don't want any more weight on one side than the other. So you want to feel that the weight of your hips is dispersed. So make sure you have that going for you. Any questions, unmute yourself. I'm going to give you a few minutes here of quiet, and I'll offer you some things that you can look at and observe, but know that you can just be deliciously quiet and still. As you relax your shoulders down, notice if you feel a nice width, a broadness across your collarbones. Take a subtle breath into your upper chest. Let the weight of your upper back and your shoulders surrender to the surface underneath you, and not just to the mat, but imagine that weight, the weights you carry on your shoulders, real and imaginary, in the sense that all that stuff that you carry is surrendering down layer by layer through your floorboards, ultimately down into the earth. Let the earth hold some of your worries and some of your stuff. At any time, if you feel you need to come out sooner, come out sooner. I'm going to have you in here about another minute or so, but come out sooner. And your exit strategy is to press into your feet, lift the hips up, lift the prop, and come out. Check in with your feet. Are your feet moving? Are the toes tapping? See if you can relax your feet completely from toe to heel, and from the little toe, one toe at a time. Take it one toe at a time, so all your toes are very relaxed, as are your fingers. Take 1 or 2 breaths here. If you took your feet wider than parallel, start bringing your feet back. Knees in line roughly with your heels, and you feel the support of the feet right under you. And to release, you're going to press your feet down. You can use your robot arms too if you need a little more lift. And just lift the hips enough to clear the prop. Take the prop out and lower down. Take your feet wide, rest your knees together. Now, notice how your back feels. If you have a memory or a imaginary mental picture of what your back felt like when you first got on the mat, notice how it feels now. After just doing a few twists, a few stretches, some active bridging and some supportive bridging, you might find that your back feels very much connected to the floor. You might feel that your upper back is more seamless, it's broader. You might feel your low back curve isn't as arched, it's a little calmer. Notice what you feel here. And then when you're ready, bring your inner feet together, ease your body over to your side, and come up to sitting. So here, I don't usually do this pose. It's a favorite of mine, but it is not a favorite of many folks. So keep that in mind. And you definitely will need some blocks or blankets to support this. So here we're going to take just a few moments in seated bound angle pose. In bound angle pose, we join our feet together comfortably. I see people like pulling their heels in. Just gently touch the soles of your feet together first. And then notice if you can drape your legs open pretty comfortably. If not, come out of it right away. If you can drape your legs open, but you feel like they're dangling in space, you could do a couple of things. You could take a block or a similar sized prop, one under each leg. You could do that. You can take a blanket and fold it up or wad it up. I'll do one side a block and one side just a regular beach towel. So you can see they're not the same height. So you can take any props you like to support this pose. And if you don't like the pose, just come to a regular seat. Okie doke. I'm going to take my props out of the way, but keep your props in place. And whatever seat you chose, whether you're coming along okay in bound angle, and we're not forcing our legs down here, by the way, we're just letting them drop down, captured by any props that you like. Sit nice and tall and find the curve at the back of your skull and line that up with the curve of your upper back and line that up with the back curve of your hips, your hip bowl. Close your eyes here. Sit nice and tall, the rib cage floating above your hips. This pose is also a forward bend. If forward bends are appropriate for you, you could take a small forward bend here. I'll turn to the side for a view and I'll also show you what not to do. So you may be tired and you may want to come out of the seat. That's fine too. If you're still comfortable here in bound angle, if you want to add the forward bend, we're not going to take our head forward. We're not going to push our chest forward. We're going to take our whole spine on an angle from the hip creases and bow it. So you're bringing your heart, in a sense, a little closer to the earth. So I'm not grabbing my legs and yanking myself down. Inhale. In fact, as you inhale, drop your sitting bones down, breathe into your length. And as you exhale, maybe fold a little more if your body has that capability. Take one or two more breaths here. Remember, you can have support underneath your legs. Don't forget that. Get that in the video there so you can see it. I took it out when I changed my position a little bit. When you're ready to release, slowly come up to sitting. I'm going to turn again. You don't have to. So you come up to sitting. Remove any props that you used underneath your legs to support them. And just catch the legs with your arms. And then pick a leg, any leg. I'm going to use my right leg, which will look like your left leg on screen. I'm going to use my hand to bring that knee up. I'm going to toe heel my foot down. So I'm out of this external rotation. Then I'm going to support my other leg as that lifts up and that foot comes down. Then I'm going to take a block or a towel. In my case, I have a block. I'm going to stretch my legs out in front of me. It looks like this from the side. And I'm going to take the block in between my calves. And I'm just going to pause here just to counter that very open hip, open leg position. We're going to bring it back into the midline. So hug the inner sides of your calves together, flex your ankles, and just sit tall here. Take one breath here, or two breaths here, or three breaths. Get your legs back to vertical. Open the knees. The knees were bent for a while. And then relax. Take the prop away. We're going to come to Shavasana in a few moments, and we're going to do that lying on the mat. And before we get to Shavasana, we're going to do just a few more stretches that are nice to do at the end of the day. So whatever you want to have for deep relaxation, some pillows for your head, some blankets to cover you, an eye pillow, get that all together and have it nearby. Maybe have a sip of water if you like that. If you want to cuddle your cat or your dog for Shavasana, bring them on in. And then grab a hold of either a yoga strap, or if you don't have one, a man's tie or two ties tied together to make it longer, or a cloth belt will also work. Just be careful of anything with a buckle, whether it's a belt or a strap, that you don't hit yourself in the head. I know, because I've been there. So have that tool handy, and then come to lying down. Set your feet parallel. Bend your knees, feet on the floor, draw your right leg into your chest. Now take the strap, place it on the bottom of your foot. Don't place it in the deepest crevice of the arch of the foot, bringing it up a little bit toward the ball of the toes. That will be more comfortable, and your foot is broader there. And hold on to the straps in a way that you don't hit yourselves with the ends, and take your leg on a diagonal to start. Take your leg on a diagonal, and don't let the leg pull on you so that your neck gets crunched and your shoulders get up. You're in control, right? You're just using the strap to lengthen your arms. So the strap the leg, in a sense, is also getting a little bit of a restorative action here, because it's being kind of cradled in the strap. Take a look at your foot. We want to make sure it's even from right to left. So we don't want to be looking at the big toe side of our foot. We don't want to be looking at a crooked foot. We want the ankle nice and even, toes relaxed. And then after you've taken out the leg on a diagonal, as I was talking, my leg crept up. Maybe your leg will come to vertical, but it doesn't matter if it doesn't. Just have your leg as straight as you can. Better a little lower and straight than higher and bent like this. We want to find some length here. Take a breath into the back of your legs. I know we don't have lungs there, but we're going to breathe back there anyway. Breathe into your knee crease. Make sure you're not forcing it open. Now take both ends of the strap to your right hand and swirl your thigh bone to the right. So like you're stirring, you're rotating your leg to the right. We're not stretching it out to the right. The sole of the foot is still looking toward the ceiling. The ankle is still flexed. And this brings the stretch that was in the back of the leg maybe to the outer hip. So this might feel nice if you have a hip issue. Then turn the leg back to neutral. So the toes are either looking behind you if your leg is vertical, or looking toward the ceiling if your leg is on a diagonal. Now take the strap ends to your left leg and use them as a support as you spiral your leg inward. So now your toes are looking toward the left. Again, your leg is straight or straightish, and you're not doing anything weird with your foot. So our foot's not like that. The sole of the foot isn't looking away from us. You might feel a different stretch here. Good. Bring the leg back to neutral, toes looking behind you. Pass the strap over to your right hand again. We're just going to do one more activity here. Spin the leg out. So again, we're rotating the leg in the socket to find a comfortable external rotation. Then you're going to take that leg and not bring it out, which is a very common and great yoga pose to do. Supta Padangusthasana. We're doing something a little different. You're going to take that externally rotated leg and you're going to bring it a little bit toward the left. And you're also going to take your left knee and tip that to the right. So when the knees come to the midline, you might be getting a really nice stretch in the outer leg, in the outer hip. This can be good for the IT band. And just make sure your arms are comfortable. You're not tortured in any way. You're just enjoying the stretch and the sensation. And then bring your knees back to hip distance apart. Soften your right knee. Remove the strap. Place your right foot down. Stretch your right leg straight. And then relax the right leg. And then bend the knee and bring it in. Draw the left leg into the chest, strap the foot, send the leg up or send the leg forward. Find a leg that's as straight as you can have without force. Flex the ankle, relax the toes. You can inch the leg up, but remember, better straight and a little lower than vertical like mine is, but bent, because we don't really get as much stretch in the leg and the hip if the leg is very bent. So the toes are going to be looking behind you, right? Pass the strap to your left hand now. And with the foot nested in the strap, spin the leg outward. So you can now see the heel in your vision, and the toes are maybe looking toward your left shoulder. Bring the leg back to neutral. Toes are looking straight behind you or to the ceiling or somewhere in between. Pass the strap to your right hand and use the support of the strap to gently spiral your leg inward. And here it's very easy for the foot to get very torqued. So the inward rotation on many of us is not a great deal of rotation at all. Bring the leg back through neutral and then take it to the first side, the external rotation. Notice how once your leg spins open in external rotation, you might feel again a nice dusty stretch along the outer leg and hip. Now take that externally rotated left leg and bring it a little bit toward the midline. Now take your right leg, if it was straight, bend it, because you're going to bring that knee to the midline as well. So it's almost like we're crisscrossing a little bit to get stretch and length in the outer hips all the way to the lowest part of the thigh above the outer knee. Relax your back into the floor. Relax your toes. Take one more breath here. And then turn the leg to face the wall behind you. And just for one more minute before we come into deep relaxation, if it's comfortable, if you want to do a little inversion with both legs, bend the knee of your left leg, pick the right leg up, scoot that one in the strap as well, and take the feet a few inches apart. Don't let your inner feet touch. I mean, they can do that to start, but take your feet wide, and then the outer edges of the strap is going to drape down the outer edge of the feet, and they're going to be kind of snug in there. You can bend your knees a little or a lot, and just hold on to the strap. And if it feels okay, enjoy this little elevation of the legs. If it doesn't feel okay, bend the knees, take the strap away, and bring your feet down, take your feet wide, and rest your knees together. This is it's great to invert the legs. This is one way to do it. You could also do it by kind of sitting sideways. Well, that's confusing. Sorry. What you might be do it in a way that you can lift your legs up onto a chair or on your couch. Feels so good. Make sure your toes are relaxed. You can wiggle them up there. When you're ready, bend the knees, remove the strap, take the strap to your side, and prepare for deep relaxation. So get as comfortable as you can lying on your mat. Make sure your head is on something soft, that your mat is comfortable. If not, that you have a support under your head, pillow or towels. Have your legs in any position you like. If you have some spare props around, excuse me, you could take a bunch of rolled up blankets or towels and tuck them under your legs. Let go wherever you can. Notice how you feel on your mat now at the end of your very subtle, we did a super subtle, gentle evening practice tonight. So notice at the end of your practice, if you may feel a little different. Maybe your back is calmer. Maybe your neck feels looser. Your shoulders feel lighter, or your toes or your fingers are more open-minded to just be still. It seems that there is always so much to do. And as it said in the reading that I shared at the beginning of class, letting go means realizing that you weren't in charge anyway. We worry about so many things, most beyond our control. Right now, at this moment, let go, whatever you can, and embrace the understanding that you are not in charge of the world. Invite your body to surrender to ease and stillness in any way that it can. Soften your jaw. Close your eyes like soft curtains, the curtain barely brushing the windowsill. Let go in any way that you can. If any distractions arise in the form of an unexpected sound, see if you can keep those sounds and the distractions at bay without getting angry at them. Just take them over to the side, breathe them, whisper them to the side. Come back to your place of stillness. Easy inhale, smooth exhale. Calm body, calm breath, calm mind. Calm mind, calm body. Easeful, natural breath. Soft, relaxed muscles. Calm, quiet mind. Give yourself the gift of a few, maybe a couple more minutes of stillness. If you're tempted to stop the video or take care of something, resist the temptation and give yourself this gift. When and only when you are ready, bring your awareness back to your breath and stay present with your breath as it rolls in and as it rolls out. And notice whatever you notice about the quality of your breath, not quality in terms of if it's 24 carats or 10. Notice the spaciousness, notice the movement, notice the ease, notice any blockages. And then when you are ready, you may want to slowly start to shift, maybe wiggle one finger or one toe, maybe do a really super soft version of those diagonal stretches we did in the class, but not reaching long, just kind of taking one arm up and the opposite leg, and then the other arm and the other leg, and just reaching in all directions. Keep the limbs soft, maybe circling as you reach the limbs away from your torso. And then when you're ready, easefully roll over to one side and stay on your side for a few breaths, resting your head on something so your neck feels nice and spacious. Carefully and safely support yourself back up to a seated position by pressing your top hand arm down. Initiate the lift, adding the bottom arm in, and using the strength of your arms to take you up the rest of the way. Come to any comfortable seat. And if you like, join your hands together. Gather in between your hands the promise to take care of yourself all week long, and seal the deal by bringing that promise to your heart, snuggling it right in, and seal it even more by bowing your head, joining your head, your wisdom, your hands, your body, and your heart, your goodness, joining them all together. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Peace, Peace, Peace. Namaste. I wish you a lovely, relaxing evening.